Have you ever found yourself wondering how to make sense of so many interests or feel the constant pressure to pick one thing? Then this episode is for you. You know the feeling? One week you are diving deep into photography, the next you are obsessing over Thai cooking, and then suddenly you are fascinated by astrology. Meanwhile, it seems like everyone else around you have their own unique one thing they're focused on. If you ever felt overwhelmed or even a little bit losing trying to navigate all your passions, knowing this, you are not alone. Today I want to talk about the beautiful and often misunderstood world of the multi-passionate soul. I remember the first time I heard the term Renaissance soul. It was back in university. My roommate Teresa had just finished a book and shared the idea with me. Sitting on the bed of a sunny afternoon, I was young, idealistic, and I wanted to learn everything and try everything. One of my passions did become my profession. Some I lost the focus at the beginning of the process, and so many are still on my bucket list. But here's where it gets tricky. This constant exploration started to bother me when I felt my passions were eating into my time. I just couldn't figure out how to wisely manage the time and how to manage it all. My sister, for example, always knew she wanted to be a social worker. She dives deep, built expertise, and make a real impact. I truly admire her focus. Meanwhile, mine feel like a roller coaster. So let's talk about multi-passionate living. Here's the thing. Being multi-passionate isn't just about having a lot of hobbies. It's about wrestling with a beautiful paradox. It's the sheer joy of discovery mixed with the fear of never truly master one thing or anything. It's the freedom to explore, but sometimes the sharp pain of guilt for dropping things that once lit you up. It's wanting to do everything, but not always knowing where to start or when to start. And our modern world doesn't always make this easy. We live in a culture that often celebrates specialists, people who go deep but not wide. Recent commentary in Forbes and LinkedIn highlights something interesting. Both generalists and specialists are incredibly essential in today's organizations. The most impactful leaders, especially in complex or rapidly changing environments, often have broad cross-domain experience, enable them to connect ideas, fill gaps, and drive innovation. But still, specialists provide the deep expertise needed for technical excellence. So if you're multi-passionate, it's easy to feel like you're behind or less valuable compared to those focused specialists. Here's the empowering perspective. This way of multi-passionate nature, it's far from new. Let's travel back in time. The Renaissance, the 14th to 16th centuries. People like Leonardo da Vinci weren't just painters. They were inventors, scientists, and philosophers. They famously followed their curiosity, whatever it led them, not necessarily because it was efficient or career-driven, but because it simply made life rich and meaningful. Fast forward to today. That spirit is still pretty much alive. Think about Elon Musk, jumping from rockets to electric cars to AI, or Richard Branson building Virgin into everything from music to airline to space travel. These are modern Renaissance souls, driven not by one singular passion, but by an endless curiosity and a deep desire to make an impact. Now, let's clear something up, because this is where many people get a little bit confused. What's the difference between being multi-passionate versus just having a bunch of hobbies? Picture this. Someone might pick up a guitar just to enjoy being in the moment, to lay back after a long day. That's a hobby. But a multi-passionate person, they might start with the guitar, get curious about music theory, start writing songs, and then suddenly realize their lyrics connect deeply to their love of storytelling. One interest organically leads to another. It's like building a complex spider web of curiosity, not just following a straight line. Hobbies are usually for fun or relaxation. Things like knitting, baking, or playing guitar. They are wonderful for taking our minds off work. But being multi-passionate runs deeper. It's about a drive to explore, to learn, and often to create or contribute in multiple areas areas that feel connected to your core identity. For multi-passionate people, these interests often feel inherently linked to their sense of purpose. They are not just filling time, they are building the foundation of who they are. So far, being multi-passionate sounds like a perfect role model for us, right? But here's where the challenge kicks in, especially in our busy modern world. Between family, work, and that constant digital noise, it's easy to feel like we don't have the time or energy to explore deeply. Sometimes we start something with excitement, only for life to get in the way, and we find ourselves dropping it, and that can feel incredibly frustrating, like we are not mastering anything or constantly failing to stick with things. Research from Frontier in Psychology indicates that people with many interests are more prone to decision fatigue and overwhelm, especially in our hyper-connected world. And here's another layer: the pressure to monetize turn every interest into a side hustle can sap the joy from learning. Psychologists even call this choice overload. Having too many options can make us less happy, more anxious, and far more likely to burn out. It's a real trap for multi-passionate, and it's one we need to talk about. So, what do we do about this? How do we find our footing and truly grounded ourselves in all of these desires? I'm learning that being multi-passionate isn't about perfectly balancing everything or doing it all at once. Instead, it's about finding your unique rhythm, even if that rhythm looks completely different in every stage of your life. Sometimes you are all in on one thing, sometimes you are juggling 5, and that's okay. The foundational work here is internal. It's about actively letting go of perfectionism, releasing the guilt of not fitting or redefined form, and truly challenging other people's definition of what success looks like in your life. It's about defining fulfillment on your own terms and giving yourself permission to not fit nearly into one box. This is where the ownership comes in. So if you ever feel stuck between too many interests or worried you are not enough of a specialist, remember this. This is your gift. In our next episode, I will be joined by Marco, a Berlin-based photographer and a fascinating example of someone who has found his own authentic way to thrive across multiple passions. We will dive into the real struggles he faced and the powerful wins that make this diverse journey so incredibly worth it. You won't want to miss his practical insight. If you are curious what type of multi-passionate person you are, I've created a free self-discovery quiz just for you. Include self-care tips for your unique strengths, a wonderful way to better understand yourself and lean into your gift. You will find a link in the description below. Before you go, please share this video with someone who might need to hear this message. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. See you in part 2.